I woke up in my mother's body on the morning of what should have been my 25th Christmas, staring at the ceiling of her Park Avenue penthouse. And the first thing I did was smash the heirloom snow globe she'd cherished since her wedding day, right there on the marble nightstand. Shards exploding like the lies we'd all been living for decades. It wasn't suicide or some fever dream. It was revenge. Engineered in a dingy Brooklyn lab by a disgraced neuroscientist I'd paid in blood money from my dead-end job. A body swap serum that turned the tables on the woman who'd spent her life erasing me from the family portrait. And as I felt her manicured hands, my hands now, tremble with the unfamiliar weight of her diamond rings, I whispered to the empty room, "Merry fucking Christmas,
Mom."
Your turn to be forgotten. The serum burned like liquid fire when I'd injected it the night before. Back in my cramped Astoria apartment, the kind of place where the radiator clanks like it's got a grudge and the neighbors blast reggaeton through paper-thin walls until 3 a.m. I'd stared at the vial for hours. That murky amber liquid swirling like the bourbon my father drowned his regrets in every holiday season.
Dr.
Harlan Voss, the quack who'd brewed it up, had chain-smoked through our meeting in his basement office, yellow teeth flashing as he rasped, "This ain't no sci-fi bullshit, Esther. It's CRISPR on steroids, rewires the neural map, swaps the souls for 72 hours. But remember, kid, what goes around comes around. You steal her body. Yours is fair game." I'd laughed then, a bitter bark that echoed off the concrete walls lined with dusty journals and flickering fluorescent lights. Fair game? My whole life had been a goddamn heist, pulled off by the two people who were supposed to protect me. Richard and Vivian Caldwell, my parents, if you could call them that, had forgotten me every Christmas since I was 6. Not in the oops I lost your scarf way, but the deliberate, gut punch kind, boarding the private jet to Aspen without a backward glance, leaving me bundled in the back of a yellow cab with a 20 and a note that said, "We'll wire the rent.
Sweetie.
Enjoy the city lights." The first time, I'd waited on the stoop of our Upper East Side brownstone until my toes went numb, snow piling up like unpaid bills. Mrs. Kowalski from next door found me at dawn, hypothermic and howling. And that's when the rumors started, the Caldwell girl. The one they pretend isn't theirs. But it wasn't just neglect, it was a cover-up, a deep betrayal stitched into the family's silk threads. I'd pieced it together over years of eavesdropping on cocktail parties, rifling through locked desk drawers when they were away. Vivian wasn't my biological mother. She'd stolen me, ripped me from the arms of a strung-out waitress in a Jersey diner after a hit-and run that left my real mom brain-dead in a coma. Richard, the hotshot Wall Street fixer, had covered it up, bribed the cops, forged the adoption papers, turned me into their miracle baby to patch over the cracks in their trophy marriage. The crime? Vehicular manslaughter. Pinned on some phantom drunk driver because Vivian's blood alcohol was triple the limit, and her family's old money bought silence like it was Black Friday markdowns. I'd borne the weight of it all. Their guilt. Their secrets, because by the time I was old enough to question the photos that didn't match, the story was set in stone. "You're ours now, Esther," Vivian would coo, her Botox smile as tight as her Chanel suit, while Richard nodded from his leather armchair, nursing a scotch that smelled like failure. They paraded me at galas, the perfect prop daughter with the awkward, gap-toothed grin, but come December 24th, vanished. Forgotten. Like I was the glitch in their perfect algorithm. Last Christmas had been the breaking point. I'd shown up at their annual gala uninvited, crashing through the revolving doors of the plaza in a thrift store gown that itched like regret, demanding why, after 19 years, they still treated me like a ghost. Vivian's eyes had widened. That pearl clutch moment straight out of a Lifetime movie. Before Richard steered me into a coat closet reeking of mothballs and whispered, "Esther, darling, it's complicated. We love you.
But
Family comes first. Family." As if I wasn't the blood they'd spilled to keep theirs pristine. I'd walked out into the sleet, hailing a cab that took me straight to Voss's door. "I want her life," I'd told him. "Just for 3 days. Enough to unravel it all." He'd cackled, sliding a vial across the scarred Formica table. Revenge is a hell of a drug.
kid,
But bodies remember.
now.
Here I was, blinking into the vanity mirror of Vivian's ensuite bathroom. Her face staring back, 52 going on ageless, thanks to a Rolodex of Beverly Hills surgeons. The silk robe whispered against skin that felt foreign. Too soft. Too perfumed with la mer. I flexed her fingers, watching the tendons dance under flawless manicure. It was Christmas Eve, 2025, and Manhattan hummed below like a beast too full to sleep, taxis honking in the shadow of the Empire State. Twinkling lights strung across Fifth Avenue like electric nooses. My phone, her phone, buzzed on the charger. A text from Richard. "Darling, the jet's fueled. Aspen by noon? Love you." I typed back with shaking thumbs. Change of plans.
Staying in.
Have fun without me. Hit send, then blocked him. The irony burned sweeter than the serum's aftertaste. First things first, the Manor. I'd bought it 2 weeks ago. Sight unseen. Draining every cent from my freelance graphic design gigs and a shady crypto windfall I'd never tell Voss about. Blackwood Manor. Upstate in the Catskills, a crumbling Gothic pile from the Gilded Age, where Richard's grandfather had hosted illicit poker games that bankrupted half the robber barons. It was the family's dirty secret, the place where Vivian had crashed her Mercedes 25 years ago, swerving to miss a deer and plowing into my real mother's Chevy. The accident report was buried in county archives, but I dug it up, page by yellowed page.
Now.
It was mine. 200 acres of pine and regret, with a deed that read Esther Caldwell in crisp black ink. I dressed in Vivian's closet, a walk-in the size of my apartment, slipping into a cashmere turtleneck and slim wool pants that hugged her yoga-toned frame. No heels. I needed to feel the ground, not teeter on her pedestals. The doorman nodded as I swept past, hailing a black car service with her Amex Black, the one that had no limit because guilt has deep pockets. The drive north was a blur of gray interstate and radio carols that twisted the knife. "I'll be home for Christmas."
Yeah. Right.
My real home was a double-wide in Asbury Park. Memories Voss had unlocked during our sessions, flashes of a woman with my eyes humming Sinatra off-key while flipping pancakes. I'd borne her death sentence, the manslaughter rap they dodged by making me their own. Every forgotten Christmas was their penance.
Outsourced to me.
By dusk, the manor loomed, turrets clawing at the slate sky, ivy choking the stone like unspoken accusations. The realtor had called it a steal at $1.2 million, but it felt like justice at wholesale. Keys in hand, I stepped inside, the air thick with dust and the faint rot of old lies. The foyer chandelier dangled like a guillotine, the crystals catching the last light. I flicked the switch, miraculously. It worked, and the room ignited in a warm, treacherous glow. That's when the first call came. Vivian in my body, probably pacing my Astoria shoebox, staring at my reflection in the cracked medicine cabinet mirror. "Esther? What the hell is this?" I can't move my shoulder. It's like it's not mine. Her voice, but my vocal cords, pitched high with panic. I let it ring out, echoing off the vaulted ceiling. Let her feel forgotten, just for a night. Upstairs, in the master suite, I found the hidden compartment behind the false panel in the wardrobe, Richard's old safe. Cracked open with a bump key I'd bought off a forum. Inside, faded Polaroids of the crash site. Vivian's lipstick-smeared confession note dated December 24th, 2000. I didn't mean to kill her. The baby was collateral. Collateral.
Me.
I pocketed them, heart pounding in her ribcage. Phase 1. Expose the betrayal. I'd invited the press, freelance journalists hungry for Caldwell dirt, under the guise of a holiday restoration reveal. They'd arrive tomorrow. Cameras flashing like paparazzi at a scandal drop. But as night fell, snow blanketing the grounds in merciful white, doubt crept in. Voss had warned me. The swap wasn't clean. Memories bled through. Vivian surfacing like oil slicks, her wedding day jitters. The thrill of closing a hostile takeover. The hollow ache of leaving me behind year after year. It's for your own good, she'd think, rationalizing the jet's roar as escape. She'll toughen up. Toughen up? I'd armored myself in sarcasm and solitude. But inside, I was still that 6-year-old, mittens frozen to the railing. A knock at the door impossible. No one knew I was here. I peered through the peephole, Richard. Coat dusted with flakes. Eyes wild.
How?
He'd traced the Amex.
Probably.
Viv, open up. Something's wrong with Esther. She called from your phone, ranting about bodies and secrets. I cracked the door, her face a mask of composure. Richard.
Come in.
We need to talk. He stormed past, shedding snow like a bad mood, then froze in the foyer. What is this place? Blackwood? You bought it? With what?
Savings, I lied.
Voice steady in her alto. Our savings. The ones you hid from the IRS. His face drained of color. That Wall Street tan going sallow. Vivian. What game is this? And Esther, God.
She's lost it.
Says you're not you. I stepped closer, letting her perfume, Chanel know. 5. Cloying as deceit, wafted between us. Maybe I'm not. Maybe it's time you remembered what you forgot. He backed away, hand fumbling for his phone. I'm calling the doctor. This is some breakdown.
No.
I grabbed his wrist, her grip surprisingly strong from those Peloton sessions.
Sit.
Or I email the photos to the Times. The crash. The waitress. Our daughter. His eyes bulged. The cunning fixer reduced to a cornered rat. How do you? Esther told you. Worse. I leaned in, whispering the truth he'd buried. I am her. And this Christmas, I'm not the one getting left behind. Richard slumped into the wingback chair by the fireplace, the one with the carved gargoyles that seemed to leer at us both. I struck a match, Vivian's long, elegant fingers making it look effortless, and lit the logs I'd stacked earlier, flames leaping up like vindication. The room filled with the crackle of pine sap, a scent that clashed with the Manor's musty undercurrent, like opening a hope chest full of mildew. You're insane, he muttered, rubbing his temples as if he could massage away the impossible. Body swaps? That's tabloid fodder. Not reality. I finished, sinking onto the ottoman opposite him, crossing her legs with a poise I'd only ever mocked. Pour yourself a drink, Richard. The decanters in the cabinet. Macallan 25, Vintage. Like our little family secret. He didn't move. Eyes darting to the windows where snow whipped against the panes, isolating us in this tomb of timber and stone. Outside, the Catskills loomed black and indifferent, the kind of American wilderness that swallowed secrets whole. If this is some prank, Vivian, it's not funny. Esther's in your body, my God. If the board hears. The board, I laughed, a throaty sound that was all her, laced with my bitterness. You mean the one you chair? The one that'd crumble if they knew their golden boy covered up a DUI homicide? Or that you laundered the payoff through Caldwell Investments? I have the ledgers. Richard. Digitized. Timestamped. Backed up on a server in Reykjavik. He surged to his feet, face flushing crimson under the firelight.
How?
We burned those. After the adoption. After you stole me. The words hung heavy, smoke curling around them. I pulled the Polaroids from my pocket, fanning them on the side table like a poker hand. There I was, tiny, swaddled in a hospital blanket, my real mother's blood still fresh on the sheets. The next, skid marks on black ice. The crumpled Chevy nose first in a ditch. Vivian's Mercedes, unscathed, parked a quarter-mile back. Collateral, I read from the note. Voice dripping acid. Classy.
Mom.
Real hallmark moment. Richard snatched them up, crumpling the edges in his fist. This ends now. I'm getting you help, both of you. Whatever drug you're on. Serum, I corrected, rising to meet him. We were eye to eye, her 5'8" matching his slouch. From a guy who lost his license after Big Pharma buried his research. It's real. And it's reciprocal. Right now, your daughter is fumbling through my life, wondering why her reflection has tattoos and takeout stains. 72 hours. Tick-tock. Panic flickered in his eyes. The first real crack in the facade. I'd seen it before. At those galas when a reporter got too nosy about the orphan in the family portrait. He'd pivot, charm them with a donation pledge or a box seat at the Met. But here, in the Manor's swallowing silence, there was no pivot. What do you want? Esther? Money? We've given you everything but a goddamn Christmas. I paced, her heels clicking on the Persian rug. Wait. No heels. But the echo felt the same. 19 years of RSVPs you ignored. Gifts rerouted to storage. Calls that went to voicemail while you sipped eggnog in Vale. You forgot me because facing me meant facing her, my mom. The one you erased. He deflated, sinking back into the chair, head in hands. It wasn't like that. Vivian. She was scared. Young. Drunk. High on the city. The accident, God. The baby crying in the wreckage. We couldn't just leave you there. So you took me. I stopped, looming over him. Raised me as a placeholder. A penance prop. But every holiday, when the ghosts came knocking, you bolted. Left me to the cold. So you could pretend it never happened. The fire popped, sending a spark skittering across the hearth. Richard's shoulders shook, not sobs, but the dry heave of a man choking on his own bile. We tried. Esther. Therapy. Family weekends.
But you.
You looked at us like you knew. Those eyes, her eyes. It was too much. Too much. Rage boiled up. Mine and hers mingling like bad moonshine. I swept the photos into the flames, watching them curl black. You pinned a manslaughter on a ghost. Forged my birth certificate. And now you play victim? Spare me the TED Talk on paternal regret. He looked up, eyes red-rimmed. The cunning Wall Street wolf reduced to a stray. What now? You drag us through the courts? The press? Ruin everything for a vendetta? Not a vendetta. I smiled, her lips curving in that way that closed boardroom deals. Justice. Tomorrow, the reporters arrive. I'll give them the tour. The crash site's still out back. Overgrown but intact. The safe's contents. The confession. You'll confess. Richard. On camera. Or I let Vivian rot in my body while I dismantle Caldwell Enterprises brick by brick. He barked a laugh, hollow as a pumpkin. You? In her skin? You'd never pull it off. The board meeting Monday. Already rescheduled. Flew, I told them. I'd spent the afternoon on her laptop, mimicking her clipped emails, the ones that dripped passive aggression like honeyed venom. It was easier than I'd thought. Her memories fed me lines, muscle memory guiding my fingers over keys. But it came at a cost, flashes of her life intruding, the thrill of birthing me, their live version, the terror of that icy road. Empathy. Unwanted. Wormed in. A gust rattled the windows, snow piling drifts against the glass. My phone buzzed again, Vivian. In my body, Esther.
Please.
I feel you in here. The anger, it's eating me alive.
Come back.
I deleted it, but the words lingered. Fine, Richard said finally, voice cracking. But not like this. Meet me halfway. Let me call her, explain.
No.
I grabbed the poker, jabbing at the logs, embers flaring. You don't get to explain. You get to feel it. Alone. Like I did. Every December. Watching the city swallow your plane's contrail. He stood, code in hand, defeat etching lines deeper than any boardroom battle. You're a monster, Esther. Just like us. The door slammed behind him, wind howling in his wake. I bolted it, leaning against the oak, her body trembling with adrenaline and something darker, hers. Perhaps the thrill of control. Monster. Maybe. But monsters don't buy manners to bury bones. They just eat them. Upstairs, I explored the bedrooms, each a time capsule of Caldwell excess, canopy beds draped in velvet, wardrobes stuffed with furs from safaris Richard romanticized as adventures. In what had been the nursery, my nursery, the one they never used, I found the box. Tucked under the window seat, ribbon like a gift, my baby book, half finished. First steps, blank. First word, scribbled out. Christmas '05, Esther left with sitter. Family ski trip. Page after page of erasures, like I'd been airbrushed from their history. Tears came then, hot and unfamiliar on her cheeks, Vivian's tear ducts. My salt. I curled on the rug, the box clutched to my chest. And for the first time, I wondered if revenge was just another swap, trading my pain for theirs, but ending up hollow either way. Dawn crept in, gray and grudging, the manor groaning like an old beast rousing. Coffee brewed in the industrial kitchen, espresso machine hissing judgment, and I scrolled her emails, deleting flirty threads with her trainer, forwarding audits to the SEC with anonymous tips. Power hummed, addictive, but Voss's warning echoed, bodies remember. Already, my left knee ached with her phantom arthritis, a reminder that time was slipping. The first reporter arrived early, a wiry guy from the Post named Hale, parka zipped to his chin, recorder thrust like a sword. Mrs. Caldwell? Thanks for the exclusive. This place spooky as hell. What's the angle? Holiday flip? Something like that. I led him through the halls. Voice steady. Family legacy. Secrets unearthed. We paused at the rear terrace, overlooking the ravine where the Chevy had tumbled. Right there, I said,
Pointing.
25 years ago, a woman died. Drunk driver. Left a baby behind. Hale's eyes lit. Shark-like. And you own it now? Why? Redemption. The word tasted like ash. As he scribbled, my phone lit up. Vivian. I'm coming for you. Whatever this is, it ends today. Let her come, I thought, pocketing it. The game's just starting. But as Hale snapped photos of the overgrown scar in the earth, a chill unrelated to the snow settled in my gut. Vivian's memory surged, a flash of the crash. Tires screaming. The waitress's face illuminated in headlights. Pleading. Not her fault. The memory whispered.
Mine.
Wait, mine?
No.
Not yet. The twist was coming. But not on my watch. The reporters multiplied like tabloid roaches. 6 in total by noon. Hale from the Post. A blogger with a Substack on true crime. A podcaster lugging gear that looked like it belonged in a militia bunker. And a trio from Vanity Fair chasing dynasty dysfunction. I played hostess in Vivian's skin, poised, evasive, dropping crumbs of scandal like a Nixon aide leaking tapes. The Caldwells of skeletons, I'd say with her coy smile. But this Manor's got the closet. We toured the grounds first. Boots crunching virgin snow. The ravine a yawning mouth below. I pointed out the skid marks, fossilized under decades of pine needles, and watched their faces shift from bored to bloodhound. Vehicular homicide. Covered up by old money, Hale muttered into his recorder, circling like a vulture. Source? Me. I met his gaze. Unflinching. I was the baby. Gasps rippled. Cameras clicking. The podcaster. A woman named Riley with a nose ring and a Brooklyn accent thick as fog. Leaned in. You? But you're Vivian Caldwell. The ice queen of finance. Appearances deceive. I turned away, leading them back inside. The wind whipping my coat tails like accusatory fingers. Inside the library, walls lined with first editions Richard never read, I uncorked the safe secrets, the digitized confession. Audio snippets I'd ripped from Vivian's old voicemails to me. Slurred apologies after one too many wines. I left you because I see her in you. Esther. Forgive me. They ate it up. Notebooks flying. Questions barraging like December hail. Why now? Revenge porn for the elite. Is Richard involved? I parried with half-truths, her charm deflecting like Kevlar. But inside, the serum's half-life gnawed, 48 hours left, and my resolve fraying like cheap tinsel. Lunch was catered, my doing. Vivian's black card maxed on a Hudson Valley farm-to-table spread, venison sliders, artisanal cheeses, mulled wine that steamed with cinnamon lies. We gathered in the dining hall, a cavern of mahogany and crystal where, per family lore, Grandpa Caldwell had lost a fortune in a single hand. I raised a glass to forgotten Christmases. May they haunt us all. Clinks echoed, but the mood soured when Richard burst in, snow-crusted and feral, Vivian's Amex bill in hand. This is madness. He barreled toward me, ignoring the gawkers. Sold the manor? To her? Esther. Stop this. The room froze. Forks midair. Hale's recorder word. I stood, slow and regal. Richard. Join us. The truth serum's optional. He faltered, eyes scanning the faces, strangers with bylines. Poised to eviscerate. Vivian.
Please.
The jet's waiting. We can fix this at home. Home, I echoed. Voice slicing. Like the brownstone where you locked the photos away? Or Aspen, where you toast to family without me? Reporters murmured. Phones discreetly filming. Richard's face twisted, cunning kicking in. The fixer mode. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a private matter. My wife is done lying. I slid the tablet across the table. Confession cued.
Play.
Vivian's voice filled the room, tinny and tear-choked. I hit her. Richard. The waitress. The baby survived. We take her, or we go down. Gasps. Then chaos. Shutters snapping. Riley live tweeting. The blogger gasping. Holy shit. This is Watergate with tinsel. Richard lunged for the tablet, but I blocked him. Her body lithed from spin classes I'd never endured. Confess, I hissed. Or I do it for you. He shoved me, hard, sending me stumbling into the credenza, crystal shattering like ice on pavement. Pain bloomed in her shoulder, sharp and electric, but I laughed through it. Assault on camera. Nice touch. Enough. The door flew open again. And there she was, Vivian. In my body. Wild-eyed and disheveled. My thrift coat hanging off her like a shroud. Snow melted in her, my hair dripping onto the threshold. Esther, whatever you did, undo it. The room erupted. Flashes blinding. Questions a cacophony. Vivian charged. My familiar limp from that old skateboarding wipeout betraying her. You bitch. You stole my life. I caught her arm. Our eyes locking hers. My hazel stare. Pleading and furious. How's it feel, Mom? Forgotten in a strange skin. She wrenched free, whirling on the reporters. Don't listen. She's deranged, probably Munchausen or the truth. I nodded to Hale, who played the audio again. Louder. Vivian's recorded sobs drowned her denials. Richard grabbed me, pulling her back.
Viv.
Not here. We go.
Now.
But she shrugged him off, turning on him with my voice, raw and ragged. You promised it'd stay buried. The swap, what the fuck? Richard? You knew.
He blanched.
Voss called. Said you'd gone rogue. Betrayal layered on betrayal. The air thickening. The podcaster's mic thrust forward. Mr. Caldwell, did you orchestrate the cover-up? He opened his mouth, life forming. I could see it, but Vivian exploded.
Yes, he did.
Bribed me. The judge, everything. And me? I drove the car. But he drove the lies. Silence crashed. Heavier than the snow outside. Reporters scribbled frenzy. Richard's empire teetering on her outburst. I watched. Heart hammering in her chest. The revenge cresting like a wave, sweet, but laced with salt. Esther, Vivian whispered. My face crumpling.
Why?
I loved you in my way. Your way sucked. But as she spoke, a memory bled through, not mine. Not fully hers. The crash. Yes. But after. The waitress, my mom gasping.
Take her.
Save her. Not pleading.
Directing.
Vivian. Weeping. Bundling me close. She chose us. Doubt flickered, but I quashed it. Cops are en route, I lied, bluffing with her bluster. Manslaughter. Fraud. Endangerment. Merry Christmas. Richard bolted then, shoving through the crowd toward the door.
Coat flapping.
This isn't over. Vivian sank to her knees, my jeans pooling around her.
Please.
Swap back. I can't. Feel this anger. It's you. All you. Riley knelt beside her, Mike hovering. Ma'am, for the pod. Leave her. I pulled rank. Vivian's authority parting them like red sea hacks. Upstairs. I locked the bedroom door. Serum vial empty on the dresser. 24 hours. Enough to break them. But as shouts echoed below, reporters dialing sources. Vivian sobs, guilt gnawed, unfamiliar in her veins. The antagonist wasn't just them, it was the whole I'd carried. The crime I'd shouldered not as victim, but enabler. By living their lie, I'd co-signed it. Night fell hard, Manor lights blazing against the storm. I paced the widow's walk, wind tearing at my hair, her hair, blonde and blowout perfect, surveying the wide out. Headlights pierced the gloom. Cop cars?
No.
Just Richard's Escalade, idling at the gate. A text. Viv, Esther. Truce? Meet at the ravine. End this. From him. I descended, boots crunching, the cold seeping through her Lululemon. The ravine yawned, a scar in the snow. Richard waited, silhouette against the idling engine, breath clouding. You win, he called. Hands up. Deed's yours. Accounts transferred.
Just. Swap back.
Before it's too late. Too late for what? I approached, poker from the fire tucked in my waistband. Insurance. Cold metal against her silk. For us. He stepped forward, face gaunt. We were monsters.
Yeah.
But you, taking her body? That's not justice. That's theft. Theft. I laughed.
Brittle.
Like stealing a baby from a dying mom? He flinched. She wasn't dying.
Not then. We
waited. In the car. Till she flatlined. Mercy. Esther. Mercy killing. The world tilted. Memories surged, hers. Vivid. The waitress. Choking on blood. Nodding at the syringe Richard held.
Do it.
For her. Euthanasia. Not murder. The secret.
Chiseled deeper.
Liar. I whispered. Poker glinting. Ask Voss. His eyes pleaded. He knows. We paid him to forget. The twist uncoiled. Venomous. Not manslaughter, assisted suicide. Covered because her veins had tracks. A dealer on speed dial. They hadn't killed. They'd claimed.
Me?
The orphan prize. Rage imploded. I swung, the poker glancing his arm, drawing a yelp but no blood. Policy be damned in my mind. He tackled me, snow cushioning the fall, her body pinned under his weight.
Stop.
It's not what you think. Sirens wailed distant, reporters' calls.
Real now.
Vivian's voice from the manor. Esther. I bucked. Knee to his gut, her Pilates core flexing. Free. I scrambled up, poker lost in drifts. You let me believe. We let you live. He coughed, clutching ribs. Believing the lie kept you safe. From the truth. Your mom was a junkie, Esther. OD'd twice before the crash. We saved you from foster hell. The reversal hit like a gut punch. Snow soaking through. Hero or villain? Debatable. Gray as the sky. Sirens grew louder. Blue-red lights fracturing the snow globe night, turning the manor grounds into a disco of dread. Richard staggered up, arm cradled, eyes darting between me and the approaching convoy. Run, he urged, voice hoarse. Before they sort the bodies from the souls. But running wasn't in Vivian's DNA. Hers was the fight, the spin, the settlement. I stood firm, her chin lifted, as the first cruiser crunched to a halt, doors slamming like judgments. Cops spilled out, beams sweeping, 2 stoddies in wool greatcoats, a detective with a mustache that screamed 80s cop show. Hands up, the lead barked, flashlight blinding. On the ground now, I complied slow, her cashmere sleeves grinding snow, mind racing. The reporters clustered at the Manor's porch lights. Filming the farce, Esther Caldwell, Wall Street widow, tackled in a drifts by her hubby on Christmas Eve. Headline gold. Richard Caldwell? The detective, badge reading Kowalski. Irony's middle finger, cuffed him rough. We got calls, assault, fraud, possible homicide. Not homicide, Richard protested. Zip-tied and shoved against the Escalade. Ask her, Vivian. It's a misunderstanding. All eyes on me. I rose, brushing flakes from her coat, voice steady. Officers, my husband's distraught. Family's secret surfacing. No assault, just a shove in the snow. Kowalski eyed me.
Skeptical.
Ma'am, we got audio, confessions, crash sites. And who's the girl inside? Says she's you. Vivian, in my body, pushed through the gawkers. Cops parting for the spectacle. I'm Vivian Caldwell. Arrest her. She drugged me. My laugh echoed.
Hollow.
Officers. Schizophrenia runs in the family. She's my daughter. Off her meds. Chaos reigned. Medics called. Reporters bang. Richard bellowing for his lawyer. Kowalski separated us, herding Vivian into an ambulance for evaluation, me into the Manor's warmth with a promise of statements tomorrow. Alone in the foyer, fire dying to embers. I collapsed against the wall, her body racked with shivers, not cold, but the serum's unraveling. 48 hours down, 24 to go. The twist Richard dropped festered. Mercy. Not murder. My real mom. Tracks on her arms. Begging the end. They'd honored it. Claimed me as salvation. But the forgetting? That was cruelty. Outsourcing their survivor's guilt to a kid who looked too much like the ghost. Phone buzzed, Voss. TikTok.
Kid.
Side effects incoming. Swap reverses at dawn.
But memories stick.
You ready for the fallout?
No.
But revenge wasn't a light switch. It was a fuse. Burning both ends. I texted back, ready as hell. Upstairs. I packed her go bag, essentials. The remaining Polaroids, singed but salvageable. A first edition Gatsby from the library, ironic. The green light of what we'd chased. Sleep evaded. Her insomnia a cruel gift. Instead, I wandered the halls. Ghosts whispering. The nursery box. Revisited. Under the half-finished pages. A letter. My mom's handwriting. Shaky. To whoever finds her. Name her Esther. After my gran. Love her fierce. I couldn't.
Fierce.
They tried. In their broken way, therapy sessions I skipped. Trust funds I ignored. But the Christmases? Those were the sin. The annual crucifixion of the daughter who mirrored their shame. Dawn bled pink through the turrets. Serum's timer chiming in my veins like a death knell. I descended to the ravine. Vivian's boots sinking deep. The site where it began. Snow blanketed the scars. Merciful. But I knelt, digging with gloved hands until metal gleamed, the Chevy's twisted bumper. Emblem half-melted. A crunch behind, Vivian. Escaped the med van in my stubborn stride. Coatless and blue-lipped. Esther. I turned. Her, my face etched with exhaustion. Mom. She collapsed beside me, breath ragged. The serum. It's fading. I feel you pulling back.
Yeah.
We sat. Shoulders brushing, strange skins touching. Richard told me. The truth. Her eyes, my eyes, widened. The mercy? God. I wanted to tell you. But you hated us so. I hated the forgetting. The words tumbled.
Raw.
Made me think I was the crime. You were the cure. She touched my hand, her hand on mine. A Mobius of flesh. But we failed the after. Every Christmas.
Seeing you.
It ripped the scab. Silence. Snow muffling the world. Sirens faded. Cops had Richard in holding. Reporters bedding down for Boxing Day scoops. What now? I asked. Voice cracking, hers. But my break. Confess. She straightened. Resolve hardening her, my jaw. All of it. The swap. The crash. The love we bungled. Let the courts decide, villains or victims. Debatable. The manor loomed behind. Mine now, a monument to the mess. And the swap? Voss says memories stick. She nodded. A ghost of a smile. Then we'll share the load. No more forgetting. The sun crested. Serum dissolving like sugar in tea. A vertigo spin. The world inverting, her body sloughing off like a snake's skin. Mine rushing back. Tattoos itching. Knee popping. The familiar ache of me. Vivian gasped beside me. Blonde hair tumbling as she reclaimed her form. Eyes clearing. We stood. Awkward in our own skins. The ravine between us and behind. Merry Christmas. Kid. You too. No hug too raw, but a nod. The start. Cops returned at noon. Statements taken in the library. The swap a hoax. Voss's tech debunked easy. The crash reframed as assisted exit. Mercy over malice. Charges? Plea bargained to community service. Donations to OD prevention. Old money's alchemy. Richard walked. But the board ousted him. Caldwell Enterprises rebranded under new management. Me. With a minority stake and a therapy mandate. The manor? I kept it. Turning the East Wing into a halfway house for foster kids. Esther's Haven. No questions on holidays. Reporters called it redemption arc. Critics. Whitewash. Debatable.
Still.
That first Christmas post-swap. They showed Richard with takeout lo mein. Vivian with a tree she'd chopped herself. Us around the fire. Toasting not to ghosts.
But gaps.
Awkward laughs. Old wounds prodded gentle. No perfection, just presence. Was it happy? Tragic? Hell if I know. But for once, no one forgot. And in the quiet nights, when memories bleed, hers of mercy, mine of mittens frozen, I wonder, did I revenge them? Or us? The manor's lights stay on. Either way, waiting.